Our world is a constantly changing web of activity, involving positive and negative changes. Without our oceans, our world could never survive, due to the vast amounts of species and wonders it holds, with the main one being whales. Whales are creatures that not many people tend to think about in our everyday North American society. Yet here in BC, hundreds of thousands of tourists flock to see them every year and pay good money just to watch a whale swim by their boat. Also, we support a hockey team that uses an orca whale for a logo. We as people are of course supposedly the more superior in intelligence. However, yet with our so-called advancements in technology, we are killing creatures who have survived for millions of years before our time, with little care or attention to any implications of our actions. Whaling is a topic with many sides, one explaining their actions simply saying that whales are a part of their culture and their God-given right, with others siding with animal rights activists and environmentalists, who have population numbers in mind and the well-being of the whales. In my opinion, we have little right to force another living thing to the brink of extinction. Many hold the misconception that whales are just fish, and they can reproduce rapidly, like any other fish would. However, whales are in fact mammals just like you and I, and they only bear one offspring at a time, meaning their population growth is very slow. Unfortunately, if the illegal whaling practices continue, we will no longer have several species left on the earth. The practice of whaling has been around for thousands of years, and started as a means to supply coastal communities with oil and meat. In the past, however, the hunting was done in small boats without the use of guns or harpoons, thus meaning the impact was far less on the whale populations and the biodiversity of the oceans. Over time and through the years, the factor of supply and demand began to take over culture, as the number of whales being killed increased due to an increase in demand and profit. The top 4 countries who have the largest catch of whales per year include Japan at number 1, with a yearly quota of 1,000 whales, and an actual catch of around 900. Over a 6-month season of hunting, the Japanese claim to be killing whales for scientific purposes. However, as seen in the clips of Japanese fish markets, this is proven to be a false excuse for the killing of hundreds of whales. Also, if the whales were needed for scientific purposes, then such a large quota would be completely unnecessary. Norway is number 2 on the list, due to the fact that their annual quota is 1,350, with an actual catch of around 600 whales. Their reasoning is embedded in their culture and history. However, since organizations such as the Sea Shepherds have intervened, their actual catch has dropped by nearly 70%, showing that this issue of whaling can be prevented. Number 3 on the list is Iceland, with an annual quota of 400 whales and an actual catch of 300 by a means of commercial whaling. This may seem like a small amount in comparison to the other two, but in fact, any number of whales killed causes a huge impact on the environment and especially the oceans. Finally, number 4 on the list is the Faroe Islands, where thousands of whales or porpoises are killed due to tradition. This to me is a display of ignorance and greed, due to their total overindulgence in the amount of whales they cruelly slaughter, with no true purpose. Each of these countries is acting illegally as of 1986, when the IWC made commercial whaling illegal, along with any other form of whaling. These actions are barbaric and inhumane, often leaving a whale in agony for at least an hour until being shot several times in order for a whaler to be sure that they have successfully killed the whale. The reason such atrocities can occur illegally is down to a lack of enforcement of the laws and a lack of true political involvement, leaving organizations such as Greenpeace and the Sea Shepherds with no political aid and enforcement.
The most important thing to consider if we're going to have a future is the protection of biodiversity, especially in the oceans. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses and humanity goes extinct. It's as simple as that. This is not the planet Earth, it's the planet ocean. And the oceans are absolutely essential for our survival. Right now, every single commercial fishery is in a state of collapse. The oceans are in trouble, the oceans are dying. I don't think of anything on this planet that is more important than the protection of our oceans, which is really the protection of our biosphere. That's more important than any other social issue that we can even imagine, because without a healthy oceans, there is no future. The only language that whalers or illegal fishermen or anybody understands is economics. So you have to make it cost more for them to do what they're doing than the profits they're making. Negating profits is our objective. That's the language they understand. If there's no money to be made in something, then people will stop doing it. No, people aren't motivated by ethics or morals. They're motivated by profit and loss. And so therefore we address that and make sure that the losses exceed their profits. I would like to see Sea Shepherd replaced by an international policing body that would actually go out and enforce international regulations, and have some sort of authority behind it to do so. The problem with the governments is there's no economic motivation or political motivation to go out and enforce these laws. They just don't care. And mainly they're run by bureaucrats who just go through the motions, and they just don't have the passion that's required to actually protect this planet.
The Sea Shepherds are not a group who often think of themselves. They only think of the whales that they are trying to save, and they will often put their lives on the line in order to save any amount of whales, whether it be 1 or 500 or more. Over the years, they have gradually grown and become more well known to the everyday person through the media. I believe they have made a great impact on saving whales, and everyone else should take the initiative and become more like them, and stand up for what they believe in, instead of sitting at home and doing nothing. When you see something upsetting, sure, you might cry about it for a couple of minutes, but then you'll just forget it. So stop forgetting about it and do something, no matter how small, because it is guaranteed someone will follow you. Because after all, it only takes one action to cause a chain reaction, and cause the whole world to see something through your eyes.